Hey, everybody. We are wrapping up Winning with People, and it's kind of sad because it's so good. But I definitely feel like this was so helpful. And Sal, I don't know if you guys saw Sal's post that she just did. Um, she's not wrong. I seriously, this is, I think, a book that it needs to be read. And I know we say that to about a lot of things that we read, a lot of leadership books. I know I've shared that with different people. I've shared book titles with different people. I've actually sent this one to several people, and I think I'm going to buy one for both of my girls. Um, it is really good because we all work with people in every aspect of life. Family. I mean, he talks about it in these last chapters too. I mean, family, friends, coworkers, like every aspect of life is people. And so, I just love all of the things that he shares in here. So we have 4 chapters to cover, and there's so much again in all 4 of these chapters. But I will highlight a few things that I really loved, although it's not nearly going to cover all that I loved, but I'm excited to hear what you guys love too. So the first one with the boomerang, I think how he started with basically it's helping others, and then having the right mindset around that. And that I think is so much of what we do here. Because definitely obviously as we read this, we think about our own businesses, but I just think that's sometimes the part of life that we can get really behind in is we start thinking about what's in it for me, and we forget that it's about them. Always. It's always about others. And I just love that he talks about in that at the very beginning on 232. I wrote at the top, where he says what goes around and where do you stand on the subject of giving to others. That was really thought provoking to really read through those. Such simple concepts, nothing that I think is earth shattering. And a lot of it is obvious, but are you a taker, a trader, or an investor? And that's pretty convicting. When you read through those, it's like, oh, what am I? And so, and I think sometimes we can look at those things and we can change who we are, but that's not the way it's supposed to be. We're really, the goal is to be investors, to give and then to receive, because when you give, you will receive. And then, of course, he moves into that later on, talking about the ways that you receive. And I loved that part too. That sometimes you receive invaluables, like you receive and you get actual things or monetary or like objects or whatever is valuable. But the bigger, and those aren't bad things, but like the bigger things are the ones that really add value to your life and experience and help you to really grow. The values and the virtues, I just thought that was so, so important. Because yeah, they bring in fulfillment and they help develop our character. And those right there it's really the whole purpose of life here. Like we want to serve and help others. Okay. So that boomerang principle, there's a lot of fun stuff in there, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys shared on there. Friendship. He talks about, yeah, just being a good friend. And am I a friend to the people that I work with? But then he also, of course, covers like your friendships, like life friendships in the end. Um, you know, he talks about, there's a lot of things that it's important to do. But it's really important to just be a friend. And I loved his story about the gentleman. Oh, where's his name? I just turned the page. Bill Porter. Just what a cool thing to see. I mean, what a hard start to life that he had, but he truly developed a rapport with people because of the kind of friend that he was and the relationships that he fostered. Um, and I just, moving from that into it's exactly what we do. We talk about relationship building and being friends with people and just truly wanting to be genuine and real with people. And those 4 levels of business relationships, moving for like having people knowledge and really understanding people, talking through that. Service skills, knowing how you treat people and how you're going to serve people. Again, going back to that boomerang principle, right? Like how you're treating people is going to come back to you. Um, and it really matters. It makes a big difference. Your reputation makes a big difference. And of course, your actual friendship with people. Um, yeah, friendship is a really big deal. And, sometimes I think the friendship part of life can be hard. And it's because of that boomerang talk, like some people are like in it for taking and they're not givers. And he talks about that in that chapter too, which I'm sure that might get brought up. But I think a lot of it is that unconditional love that we need to give people. And that's truly where you're going to see friendships thrive, where um, there's no walls, there's no barriers to what you're expecting from a friendship. Like it's not this like, oh, well, I'll rub your back if you rub mine. It's truly I'm just gonna give and I'm not gonna worry about um, how you receive me. And I think that's, sometimes it's a mindset issue and we just have to get past that. And it definitely can go into like how we share our plexus too. If we are truly seeking friendships and we're truly seeking to add value to people, then we can message people, we can talk to people about plexus. We really do want to help. And if your mind isn't in the right place for that, then that can definitely come out and it can look more like I'm taking rather than I have something to offer and I truly do want to help. Um, so and then of course the partnership. Oh, I know I don't want to go into all of this stuff too far, but partnership was so good. I just thought the Benjamin Franklin um was so good, like over and over and over again, just creating partnerships with people all the time. And how you guys, and that's what we have here. That's what I just kept thinking one plexus, one plexus, one plexus, team, sticking with the team, creating partnerships, not going it alone. Like that's, and John Maxwell talks about that in multiple books, and um the whole like I wanting to make a difference for me, like you're not going to go nearly as far if you try to do things by yourself than if you are bring people alongside of you. And then who you bring alongside of you matters, right? Makes a difference and you have that ability to decipher that and who are the people that are going to be difference makers with you. Um yeah, very very powerful section there for sure. Um and then the satisfaction principle at the end, that kind of brings it all together, right? Just all of these concepts in this whole book kind of ends on that lasting piece. And I love how he used his wife and his relationship. Um, and he kind of finishes it with, that if you if you share that with people in your life where you have that satisfaction of belonging and being with people, that's awesome. And if you don't, that's okay. You can be the person that does that. And I think that's really important through all of this. I know I've experienced this, and even now I've experienced this, especially this last part hit me in a lot of different ways about the friendship, about reaching out, about you being the giver and not expecting for anything in return. And I know I'll be really raw and honest with you. There's been moments living in a different city and moving and having to literally start from scratch, like in person. Like you guys are my friends. I spend hours on the phone every week with dear friends. And you all know that. Like my team is my friends, and I'm very grateful for those conversations. But I very much crave in-person friendships. And it's hard to do that in person unless you put the effort forth and you call the people, you ask people to coffee, you make the effort. And sometimes I think we do get in this mindset of wanting something in return. Um, but sometimes those friendships take time to cultivate, and you need to keep doing them over and over and over again. Just like we do, and not expect for things to happen overnight. Um, and so I loved how he said that if you don't have those kinds of relationships in your life, then you can begin you practice these things and you be the person that does that. Cultivate rewarding relationships where you create shared memories, grow together, give each other mutual respect and unconditional love, which he talks about in that chapter. But we have the power to do that, and it takes work and commitment to develop those things, and for people to grow trust in you and all of that. So really powerful chapters here again, you guys, and I can't wait to hear what you have to share. So the floor is open.
Well, I don't want to waste the silence because I'm sure we've got so much to say. And I just wanted to, on 254, well, actually 253, 254, you touched on it, Chris, and you did an amazing job of putting a lot of information in a little bit of time. When it said that I want to make a difference with people who make a difference. And then I want to make people, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference with people who make a difference. I want to make a difference with people who make a difference doing something that makes a difference. And he talks about the self stage where it's, I want to make a difference. And then the sharing stage where you develop into partnering with someone and making a difference that way. And then doing something that makes a difference is where the significance comes in. And just, I think that this group, one plexus, because I know across the board, this could be our mantra, that a candle loses nothing when it lights another candle. That is real. That is the real nature of partnership. And I think that that is so true. Each person possesses one or two mindsets. And I love this because I've dealt with people on both sides in the scarcity mindset and the abundance mindset. And I've been on both sides. I've been the scarcity, and hopefully I'm going to stay in the abundance because that is a much better place to be. But just that grabby, there's never enough to go around, I'm going to protect what I have, that kind of thing stops us so quickly. And I just love that he pulled that out. And it was in the very end, but I want to stay in that abundance mindset. So
Absolutely. It's so true. That scarcity is fear, right? It's fear,
absolutely.
and that's what holds us back in our relationships and in our businesses and just living an abundant life. If you're going to operate out of scarcity, you're not going to live in abundance because everything is fearful and you're holding back in all areas. So yeah, that was a very powerful. And it's all about partnering with others. Like, wouldn't you rather than go alone? And wouldn't you rather do something with other people? I mean, I know that we have lots of introverts out in the world too, and they need their alone time. And I do too, believe it or not. I do. I don't know if as I'm getting older, I'm more of an introvert, but I like my quiet time. Um, but I do love people, and is what you can do together is above and beyond what you could do alone. So, yeah. Thanks, Gina.
Kind of some random thoughts. One thought I had with these chapters was shame on me for not knowing more about Benjamin Franklin. Like, I had no idea that he did all those. I never liked history, so I'm not surprised, but I was really impressed. I really liked the poem, The Indispensable Man. Um, I thought everybody should read that. And the end where he says, the moral in this quaint example is to do just the best you can. Be proud of yourself, but remember there is no indispensable man. I thought that was really good and like a good humble lesson for everybody to keep in mind that, never get too big in your britches, right? Um, I thought that whole chapter that Gina was just talking about, to me, just said over and over, like, I think anybody that's done this for a while learns you can't drag people with you. And that's what that spelled out to me. Like, you can't drag customers, you can't drag business builders, you can't drag people with you because it never works. So I thought that was really good. And then when the chapter that talks all about friendship and even some of the satisfaction, I thought, having done this for a few years now, like some of my closest friends are people through Plexus, because when you get around other like-minded people, you do get a lot of satisfaction and your friendships are more genuine because you're working towards a mutual goal and pouring into each other and growing together, right? Just like in a marriage, you're growing together. So I thought that was really good. And I thought his letter that he shared to his wife was super sweet. I thought that was so nice to read. So those are just some of my thoughts.
I love your thoughts. Thanks for sharing. So good.
I'm going to piggyback off that just a tad, Christy. So basically, just to reaffirm what you said on the top of page 262, I have starred. So what is the bridge that spans the gap between relationships that start together and those that stay together? The answer is growth. People who grow together become more committed to one another. And you can see that in so many marriages, not just friendships. I know he was talking about friendships and marriages both, but if you have one person that grows and one person that either refuses or doesn't want to grow, that gap just gets wider and wider. So it's kind of a sad thing, but it's also a beautiful thing. So I think, yeah, just something to reflect on there. And then I'm kind of going all over here. I got my fingers marked in a couple different places. Page 255, I'm going to go backwards. On the partnership principle chapter, just the one quote from Mark Twain. He said, the best way to cheer yourself up is to cheer everybody else up. How true is that? Seriously, even if you're feeling crappy and you make everybody else smile, like it makes you feel good, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know. That made me smile just thinking of that. So I wanted to share that. 253. The main lesson I learned during this phase is that I should try to build relationships with everyone, but keywords, I should forge partnerships with only a few. I really appreciated this chapter. I kind of had conflicting emotions about it, not gonna lie. Because we all just want to be friends with everybody and help everybody, right? But if we are serious about this business, we got to work with the people that want to work and want to grow. And we got to talk to and coach and be mentors to the people that their feet are matching their mouth. And if they're not, we can still be friends and we can still love them. But we're going to work with the people who are working. And I'm just going to say it because that's the way it is. This is a business. We're friends. We all love each other. But I loved that. He just summed it so nicely. And then back a couple more pages to 236. The first sentence under number 4, you cannot help someone who does not want your help. I mean, we all know it, but I'm sure we've all lived it. So I'm learning more and more in this business, you guys. This is just a personal experience that I've been learning a lot. A lot of the people that come to us that want our help, have a lot of junk, because emotional junk equals physical junk. So a
Mm,
lot of people that come to us that aren't feeling good physically, it is physical, but unfortunately a lot of it's mental and spiritual and emotional. And we can't help that. I mean, we can in a little bit, but um a lot of times they actually don't want to get better. And I hate to say that, but I have found that to be true a couple of different times, more than a couple. And so, sorry about the background noise. My kids just came upstairs. But I think the people that quit and that give up on themselves sometimes before they even start, it's on them. They really don't want to get better. And I've had to tell myself that to make myself be okay with a couple of things is, you know what? They wanted help, but they really didn't want help. They weren't ready for help. So just know that sometimes we can do all the things and it's not ever going to be enough until they're ready, and that's okay. So anyway, I'm gonna shut my mic off because my kiddos are upstairs.
Hi. Hi.
hey, that was Sable. Was that Sable? Yeah, I
Yeah.
could tell right away. Hey, Sable.
Oh,
Okay. She's got a cold, so she sounds extra manly.
sound like a dude.
Oh, so good.
Oh, I agree with everything everybody said. I love it all. And yeah, there's so much. I couldn't even start to pick what thing I wanted to talk about in all these chapters because it's so good. And I think that's partly why I made that post too, because I'm just like, I need to read this book like 3 times again because there's so much good stuff. But just the Boomerang Principle, investing in others. I don't really have to add much more to this, but investing in others is one of the most noble and productive things we can do. Whatever we can do to help others makes the world a better place. And that is so true. And I think sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but in today's world, it is heavy. It is daunting. It is cumbersome. It is scary. It is evil. It is a lot, that we face and see every day, and just a lot of unknowns, and it's scary. And sometimes I feel like, gosh, I can't do anything, like I'm just one person. I can't do anything to help that. Like I have this urgency, like I want to change things and help and whatever, but I feel like it's so big, right? But I think we have to remember that it just takes being kind and being helpful and loving on others and investing in others, just one person, like, and remembering that God is sending you people through this business that we can invest in and help and change and reveal him to them and all of that. And so that is not daunting. That is not like, we can do that. We can, one person at a time, right? And that's how that change happens. And so I think just remembering that, like knowing who God brings us in this business and who we come into contact with is for a reason and a purpose. And we can help them and help, change, people just around us. And that is making and, causing a lasting effect in a positive way too. So.
So good. 100%, Sal.
I kind of want to piggyback off of that a little bit. I really liked the Boomerang Principle as well. I mean, everything in here was so good. I can't pick like one favorite thing. But one section that stuck out to me was towards the bottom of 231, where he had talked about, how he didn't always have like the mindset of like pouring into other people first and investing in them first. But then he went on to say, over the course of many years, I began learning to invest in people first and often. Somebody has to make the first move in relationships. So I figured, why not me? I started to take a giver's approach to life, focusing on what I could give in relationships, and I often tried to do it without an expectation of receiving something in return. I discovered that when I added value to people, many desired to add value back to me. When that happened, the relationships developed an incredible synergy and went to a new level. And I just thought that was really cool. And loved just the whole like why not me be the first person to, pour into somebody else. Because I think sometimes it's easy to sit back in a relationship and kind of wait for like the other person to make the first move, or at least it's easy for me to do that. More often than I would want it to be. And so I thought, okay, yeah, I'm gonna take that. Why not me?
I loved that part too. I like underlined and put brackets and stars around all of that too, because I mean, I think we can all get caught up in that, right? Like waiting for the other person to make the move or the call or the return call, or like why do we wait for other people? Why don't we be the one that starts to make the difference, and picks up the phone or asks somebody to go to coffee or come over or whatever, like go for a walk, like you just never know. And they might be waiting for you, like, so you be the one. So yeah, that was so convicting. Love it.
There's a couple parts I really loved, and it was I think it was the boomerang, no, the friendship and then the boomerang. When they were talking about that guy from Watkins, how John Maxwell says that, how did he do it? His first asset has always been persistence. His second has been friendship. And then on the next page, it says he snuck into people's hearts. I love that. Just, I don't know, it just speaks to like who he is and kind of like, oh, I want to be that person that sneaks into people's hearts too. And like impacts their lives. And then back to page 235, kind of something that kind of sums up, I feel like Plexus, where President Woodrow Wilson says, "You are not here merely to make a living. You are here in order to enable the world to live more amply, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world, and you impoverish yourself if you forget the errand." I was just like, mic drop. Just good.
Yeah. So good. Again, it's off of us. It's not about us. So
I actually really appreciated a lot of the questions at the ends of the chapters too. And probably the one that got me thinking the most was on 257, number 1, about making a difference and what does it mean to you? I mean, this whole question, all the questions in number 1 up there were basically the vision casting that we talk about all the time for our businesses. If you haven't stopped and thought about what does making a difference mean to you, like, do you really desire to make a difference doing this business? And if so, what kind of a difference? We have to dissect that apart, I think. And because I know, he says, have you considered whether or how you desire to make a difference in your lifetime? I have to admit, I was not raised in the kind of family that ever really talked a whole lot about dreaming or making a difference or impact or anything like that. So honestly, it's only been since Plexus that I've been trying to train my mind to think that way. And so this really hit home. I mean, every chapter was just so good, but this one really makes you think.
thank you, Leellen. Yeah. The questions were so good. I mean, we could talk for a long time about each one of those, couldn't you? I mean, there's such good discussions. So good. We started 5 minutes late. So it is 8:35 right now, but or 9:35, wherever you are. But if anybody is like sweating right now because you've been wanting to say something, that means you should say something.
I guess I could say one more quick thing.
Yes, please do.
Like on the bottom of 261, where he says, beginning relationships possess the excitement of starting together. So that again is another example of how when we're starting out a customer or something, or even before we're starting with a customer, we need to show that excitement about what it's going to be like for them to start and things like that. And then continuing relationships possess the commitment of sticking together. So that's where our part of serving them comes in, is that's our commitment to them.
Mhm.
And lasting relationships possess the joy of staying together. So that's where we get to celebrate their results and things like that.
Great comparisons. I love that. Thank you, Leon. That was really good. And it all takes work. Like you can't just sit back and expect things to happen. We have to make an effort. Any other thoughts, you guys?
I love on page 235 where they're talking about investing in others. That's what we do. But I just thought it was so, the way he said it really drove it home. Investing in others is one of the most noble and productive things that we can do. And it's not merely to make a living, but it's to help others. And that is exactly what we preach, basically, is, it's all about helping others. But then in return, we do get paid, but in return, we also are just so blessed, because when we bless others, and like I always think, when you go on a missions trip, you think you'll bless others. Usually you're the one that gets blessed the most. And that's kind of the way, it is here. I just feel so blessed when somebody sees something good happening, and you see a change in their health, and so, or their mindset, or whatever, it's not just all about health either. It could be just even such a thing that God brought them into our lives to grow them spiritually and to be a mentor to them, so all of it, I think, is so huge, and what we get to do here.
Yeah, absolutely, Vicky. Yep. The benefits far outweigh the work that it takes. Sometimes I think that's what we have to really remember to focus on when we are investing in people. It takes time, it takes work, but the benefits from that is huge in all areas. So, all right, well, probably should wrap it up. We could talk forever. I love this book. Thanks for joining in, you guys. So appreciate all the conversation. Lots of really good sharing, and yeah, excited for the next one for next week. Make sure you buy that one. What is it called again? It's 30 something. Are you holding it, Sal? Oh, 30 days. 30 days, change your habits. I'm excited about that one too. Lots of good stuff in there. All right, friends. Have a great night. See ya.